Why are these wrong? I'm loving this song. The train is leaving at 6. This guy walked into a bar. If you're like most English learners, you probably think that you know the present continuous and the present simple until you realize you don't. You see, there are lots of different situations where we have to use one or the other. And if you don't, it's wrong. So in this video, I'm going to explain everything so you can tell stories, talk about facts and habits, describe future timetables, describe past news events, or use certain verbs like love, know, and understand accurately and naturally. I'm also going to tell you the biggest common mistake that you must avoid. And it's one that even advanced learners still make. So, are you ready? Okay, so we're gonna look at every different use of the present simple and present continuous tense, so you can use them confidently in every situation. But before that, let's quickly refresh how they are formed and the basic idea behind each tense. So the present simple. This is so easy. Just use the base form of the verb and add an S in the third person. So work. She work, I work, you work. She works in a cafe. He drives to work. Easy, you know that. The present continuous is am, is, or are, plus the ing form of the verb. For example, I am studying. They are watching TV. So you've probably learned that we use the present simple for things that happen all the time, regularly, and the present continuous for things that are happening right now. But there are lots of other reasons why we use one tense and not the other. So that is what we're going to look at today. If you're new here, I'm Greg from English with Greg. Here I make advanced grammar simple and teach you British pronunciation so you can speak clearly and understand native speakers easily. And you can now download the latest edition of my Quick Fix magazine. This is really going to help you learn this specific grammar because you'll see it used naturally in a short story. You'll learn some common chunks that you can use so you can use this grammar easily and fluently. And there's also a quiz, a writing challenge, and just a few other fun activities to help you remember this grammar in an effective and fun way. To get that magazine, just click up there or click the link in the description. You can also scan the QR code there. Then all you have to do is enter your name and your email address, and I will send you this special present tense edition of the Quick Fix magazine via email. And every time I publish a new edition, you'll get it in your inbox. Okay, we're going to divide this lesson into two parts, obviously, present simple and then present continuous. So let's start by looking at all 8 ways that we use the present simple tense. 8. All right, number 1 is probably the one that you already know, habits and routines. For example, she wakes up at 7. Here, I'm not talking about today or what's happening right now or tomorrow. No, it's a routine that happens every day. She wakes up at 7 o'clock. And because it's the third person, we have an S at the end of wakes. I go to the gym every Monday. Again, I go, present simple, because it's a routine that happens regularly every Monday. We also use the present simple for general truths or general facts. For example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. It's just a scientific fact. And we use the present simple for scientific facts like that. The sun rises in the east. It's a fact, it's a truth, so we use the present simple. Number 3 is stative verbs. What's a stative verb? Well, a stative verb is a verb that expresses a state and not an action. Common stative verbs are want, like, believe. Okay, you can't say like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just wanting something. Oh, I'm just believing right now. I can't answer the phone because I was too busy liking football. They're not actions, they're states. And we can't use the present continuous with stative verbs. We have to use the present simple. So we can't say, I am loving this song. Instead, we need to say, I love this song. Interestingly, McDonald's has probably changed this grammar because since they introduced their slogan that said, da 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 da, I'm loving it, it has become much more common to hear people saying, I am loving this song in spoken informal English. But officially it's wrong, and stative verbs just need the present simple. Here's another example. He doesn't understand the question. Okay, we can't say he isn't understanding the question. It's a stative verb, so we need to say he doesn't understand the question. Okay, the next reason we use the present simple is to talk about timetables for future events. This is not the same as a plan. This is a timetable. When you actually look at a timetable of a train, a plane, a bus, and you see what time a plane or train leaves, we use the present simple, even though it's happening in the future. For example, my train leaves at 6 o'clock. The match starts at 8 o'clock. Okay, these are timetabled events. They're not plans, they're timetabled events. And for timetabled events, we use the present simple. The shop opens at 8. It's a timetable, we use the present simple. Okay, the next couple are quite interesting because we're using the present simple to talk about the past. The first reason we do this is with news headlines. You will often see this as a title, a headline in a newspaper article, and you will see something like this: President resigns after scandal. Or this: scientists discover new species. These are things that happened in the past, and the newspaper is reporting them. But when we're writing news headlines, we use the present simple to describe what has happened. Interesting, hey? And if you liked that, you will like this next reason too. Sports commentary. So when you're watching football on TV, so imagine Foster passed the ball to Jackson. The commentator says, Foster passes the ball to Jackson, Jackson shoots, and he scores. All in the present tense. Or he runs into the box, but the defender stops him just in time. Okay, all the present tense. Okay, the seventh reason we use the present simple is for storytelling. Telling stories, telling jokes, or telling summaries. Right, so here's a common way to start a joke in English. So, this guy walks into a bar. Right, we're telling a story, which has happened in the past, but we use the present simple. This guy walks into a bar and he says to the barman, and the barman replies, and he laughs, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all the present tense when we're telling this type of anecdote. Okay, if you're summarizing a book or a film, if I say to you, hey, did you like the film? What's it about? You say, oh yeah, great. So the main character finds a letter and runs away. All the present tense when we're summarizing what happens in a book or a film or any type of story. Okay, and the final reason we use the present simple is for instructions and directions. So yeah, you could use the imperative here, like turn left, then go straight on. But you could also use the present simple. So to get to the station, you go left, and then you turn right, and then you go straight on. Present simple tense. Or for instructions, blah, blah, blah. Next, you open the app and you log in. So again, they're instructions, so we use the present simple. Okay, so that is the present simple. Now, if you're preparing for B2 or want an upper intermediate level of English, or simply want to feel confident using grammar like this, and in fact, all the tenses and all the parts of English grammar that will actually enable you to have a decent level of grammar, vocabulary and pronunciation so that you can actually have and enjoy meaningful conversations about everyday topics in English, then my brilliant B2 course will help you get there. That's exactly why I created it. Hundreds of students have signed up for the course and love it. So I will leave a link in the description if you want that level. Okay, so let's have a look at the 7 ways that we can use the present continuous. Let's go. Okay, the first one is probably the one that you know already, and this is for actions that are happening right now. I'm speaking, you're listening, she's reading a book. These are all things that are happening right now, and we are in the process of doing these actions. Okay, but we can also use it for temporary actions. For example, I'm staying with a friend this week. He's working in Berlin for a few months. So it's not an action that is specifically happening right now, but it's a temporary situation. And for those, we use the present continuous. We also use the present continuous for, and this is really common and not a lot of students use it, it's for changing or developing situations. For example, the climate is getting warmer. This isn't something that's happening right now. When we're talking about the climate changing and the climate getting warmer, we're talking about a changing or developing situation. So we use the present continuous tense. Okay, the next way is quite a fun way. We use the present continuous with the word always to show that something is annoying us. For example, she's always calling me during meetings. You're always leaving the lights on. If I use the present simple in those situations, she always calls me during meetings, you always leave the lights on, I'm simply expressing something that happens regularly, a habit. But if I use the present continuous with the word always, it shows that that action annoys me. It's a super useful way to use the present continuous tense. Okay, we can also use it for future arrangements when we include a reference to the time. For example, I'm meeting Sarah tomorrow. Tomorrow is the time. We're mentioning the time. So we can use the present continuous to talk about a future plan, a future arrangement. I'm meeting Sarah tomorrow. They're flying to Paris next weekend. Again, I'm specifying the time, next weekend, and it's a future arrangement. So we use the present continuous. They're flying to Paris next weekend. Okay, the next way we use the present continuous is to talk about the past. And we use this when we're telling stories, but we want to really create a very vivid or emotional experience. For example, so there I am, sitting in the cafe, when suddenly, okay, so when I'm telling you that story using the present continuous tense, it's almost like you're transported into that little situation. It's almost like I'm bringing you in and putting you in the scene of that story. All right, so last night I'm walking home and this guy just shouts at me. Okay, do you see what we did here? We've got both the present continuous and the present simple in this example. As I mentioned, with the present simple, we can use it to tell stories in the past. So these two ways are very similar. As we do in just normal sentences, we use the present continuous to explain what is happening, to set the scene, okay? And then the present simple to describe an action that happened. So think of this example. In the morning, I open the curtains. Action. The birds are singing. The sun is shining. I'm setting the scene there. And I think that's an action. What a beautiful day. Okay, so when we're describing the situation, we use present continuous. And when we're talking about actions, we use the present simple. And this happens also when we're telling stories about the past. So, I'm walking home, right? I'm explaining the situation. And this guy just shouts at me. Action. The next way we can use the present continuous is for trends. For example, more and more people are working from home. Or, teenagers are spending less time on Facebook. They're trends, they're things that are becoming more and more common, or more and more fashionable or popular. And because this is a very continuous and gradual thing, we use the present continuous tense to describe this trend. It's similar to the changing or developing situations that I talked about in the third point of this section with climate change. Okay, I'm going to give you an example so you can see both tenses used side by side so that you can actually see the difference of meaning depending on which tense we use. Before I do that, don't forget to download the Quick Fix magazine so that you can practice all of this in a very fun and effective way. Okay, now let's compare these two tenses in one sentence. My English is improving because I watch Greg's videos. All right, my English is improving. This is a present continuous tense, which shows us that it's a developing situation. Okay, it's something that is happening gradually over a period of time. And the second one, present simple, I watch. This is telling me that you watch my videos on a regular basis, maybe once a week. But it's a regular thing. It's not a continuous developing situation. It's bam, 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 bam. It's regular over time. Okay, and if that sentence is true for you, then, or if you want it to be, then please make sure you subscribe to this channel. I have loads more videos coming up and I would not like you to miss them. Okay, let's have a look at those three sentences that I used at the beginning of this video that I said were wrong. No, actually, before we do, I promised you I was going to tell you the most common mistakes that people make with the present simple and present continuous tenses. So, here they are. Number one is missing the S in the third person singular. Oh my word, it's so easy. Everything is eat, 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 eat. Apart from the third person singular. He eats, she eats, it eats. Don't forget the S in the third person singular. It can really make your level of English seem much lower than it really is. The next common mistake is using the present simple for things that are happening right now. Like, wait, I come with you. No, you're talking about something that is gonna happen right now. I'm coming with you. And the third common mistake is with present continuous questions. I hear things like this so often. What time you are going to work? You need to change you and are you. What time are you going to work? Again, it's just a tiny little mistake, but if you make these three mistakes, any of these three mistakes, it can make your level seem much lower than it probably is. So just pay attention to these three things when you're using these tenses. Okay, now let's go back to the start of this lesson. I said, I'm loving this song. As I said, we use present simple for the stative verbs. So it should be, I love this song. The train is leaving at 6. This could be correct if you're talking about a specific train where you're telling me what time the train leaves every day, Monday to Friday. Then we need the present simple. The train leaves at 6. And finally, this guy walked into a bar. Okay, it's a joke. We're telling a story here, so you want to use the present simple to tell jokes naturally. Okay, so this guy walks into the bar and he says to the barman, okay, maybe I should do a video on jokes that begin, this guy walks into a bar. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do that. Okay, so each one of those sentences used the wrong tense for the situation that we were talking about. If you want to keep learning and master all the English tenses, then I have a video that shows you exactly how to do it, all 12 tenses, in 25 minutes. It's a really concise but very comprehensive video. I'll put a link at the end of the screen. So you've mastered the present simple and the present continuous. Now don't forget to download the Quick Fix magazine so you can see this grammar in action, in context, in this week's story. So thanks for watching and bye for now.